Om Stavakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharmaswarupine Stavakaya Dharmasya Sarvadharmaswarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namaha Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukampadrita Vigraham Vai Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukampadrita Vigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidhyam Tam Ramakrishnam Sirasa Namami Asato ma sadgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityorma mritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us bow down to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God Incarnate, who is adored by all, pure, eternal, infinite by nature. Out of His infinite grace on the devotees, the Divine Supreme has assumed a human form in the form of Sri Ramakrishna. Let us bow down to Him. Let us try to dwell upon the personality Sri Ramakrishna. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God Incarnate who came to establish universal religion. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. Today I am speaking on the topic, the message of Sri Ramakrishna to the modern world. Sri Ramakrishna had a very special message for the humanity. It is for this special mission the Divine Supreme incarnated Himself as Sri Ramakrishna. It is quite natural for people to go astray over the period of time. So God comes in various forms to teach people so that they can know the meaning of life, so that they can live the life properly and fulfill the purpose for which the life was given to them. So Sri Ramakrishna lived as one of our own beings. He experimented upon himself and practiced all religions, major religions, to see the exact content of each religion. Finally, he validated the purpose for all which, the purpose for which the religions have come. Sri Ramakrishna said, all religions have one aspect, and that is to realize the divine truth. So, through his own life, Sri Ramakrishna demonstrated to the whole world how the person should conduct himself in this world. The most important message Sri Ramakrishna gave about the goal of human life. Here most of the people miss the goal. They think their goal of life is to enjoy this world. They think their goal of life is to see how best they can earn money by whatever means. Basically, they think they're existing in this world just to enjoy the world. But Sri Ramakrishna gives here the most important teaching. The goal of human life is none of these things which I mentioned just now. It's perfectly all right to earn the money, to possess the house, property, but it must have limits, not in an unlimited way. If you go in an unlimited way to fulfill the objects of the senses, it paves the way for destruction. So Sri Ramakrishna here tells very clearly the goal of human life is the realization of the ultimate reality. Why? Why Sri Ramakrishna fixed this as the ultimate reality? Because that alone gives man fulfillment and everlasting peace. If you want to enjoy, to experience the real happiness means peace, peace of mind. That one can obtain only by realizing the divine truth. So, this is the essence of all religions. This is the essence. So we should focus on fulfilling this objective, realization of the truth. But we watch our life, we feel how we are wasting our time in useless things. It's perfectly all right that we may not get sufficient time to do spiritual practices because we have to run for the jobs, take care of the family and so on. It's perfectly all right. But even when you are given time, you begin to give so many other reasons for not practicing spiritual ideals in the life. Sri Ramakrishna said in the Gospel, he explained to Latu, who became Sri Ramakrishna's one of the most disciples, Adbhutanandaji, he explained to him who the object of the devotee's worship is. Hazra, one of the persons who used to live in Dakshineshwar, he said, the devotee really prays to his own self. Sri Ramakrishna replied, what you say is a very lofty thought. The aim of spiritual discipline of chanting God's name and glories is to realize just that. A man attains everything when he discovers his true self in himself. The object of sadhana is to realize that. That also is the purpose of assuming a human body. One needs the clay mold as long as the gold image has not been cast. But when the image is made, the mold is thrown away, the body may be given up after the realization of God. Sri Ramakrishna tells further, God is not only inside us, He is both inside and outside. The Divine Mother showed me in the Kali temple that everything is Chinmaya, the embodiment of Spirit, that it is she who has become all this, image, myself, utensils of worship, doorsill, marble floor, everything is indeed Chinmaya. Sri Ramakrishna is telling these words out of his own experience. Once Vivekananda came to Sri Ramakrishna. When he heard that everything is Brahman, Swami Vivekananda, as he was called Narendranath in his younger days, he just could not believe it. He began to laugh and said, how could it be? This door is Brahman, this windowsill is Brahman. How can that everything be Brahman? It virtually means he did not understand the significance of Sri Ramakrishna's sayings. Then Sri Ramakrishna came near him. He knew Narendranath was very pure at heart, guileless, sincere. That's all that is required for spiritual practice. Nothing else is required. So Sri Ramakrishna came and touched him. Immediately, Swami Vivekananda, Narendranath, became a changed person. The next moment he began to feel everything is Brahman itself. He could not walk on the road. In a way, while walking, he stuck up on the pillar there, and he was in that strange, special mood, not simply 1 or 2 days, for many days. Then he was convinced that what Sri Ramakrishna had said, everything is really Brahman. Sri Ramakrishna, in a way, is validating the famous Upanishad statement, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Everything indeed is Brahman. So God is everywhere. There is no space where there is no God. But still, people build worship homes, temples and churches. In order to focus their attention, they build all these things. In fact, the story of great devotee Prahlad, for him it was true. Everything is Lord Vishnu himself, and he is there everywhere. His father, Hiranyakashipu, was so angry, and he began to tease Prahlad, his own son, and scolded him. And finally he said, look, you are talking too much. You are saying Vishnu is everywhere, is all pervading. Let us see if Vishnu is in this pillar. If he is there, let him come out and save you. Then he began to draw the sword to kill his own son, because Hiranyakashipu had nature of demon, and that is a great crucial test for Prahlad's devotion, a test for the truth itself. And it proved absolutely true. Immediately there's a crack in the pillar. Out of the pillar came out the great incarnation, Narasimha. And that is the truth. If God was not present there, how could he come out? God is present everywhere, but he is invisible. He is invisible because of our ignorance. If we purify our heart, sharpen our intellect, surely we will have the vision of God, which make us peaceful and blissful. Sri Ramakrishna further said, the aim of prayer, of spiritual discipline, of chanting the name and glories of God, is to realize just that. For that alone, a devotee loves God. A person will certainly succeed if he will take the plunge. Success is sure for such a person. Well, what do you think of the worship conducted by Keshav Chandra Sen, Shivanath and the other Brahmo devotees? Master Mahasaya said, they are satisfied, as you say, with describing the garden, but they seldom speak of seeing the master of the garden. Describing the garden is the beginning and end of their worship. Sri Ramakrishna replied, you are right. Our only duty is to seek the master of the garden and speak to him. The only purpose of life is to realize God. The spiritual tradition reiterates that human birth is very rare to get, and hence it should be utilized properly for realizing the goal of liberation. Lord Krishna has emphasized this in the Bhagavad Gita. While it is due to the great merit that human birth occurs, still more rare is for an individual to develop devotion to God and strive steadfastly for spiritual progress. For those who are serious about pursuing the spiritual goal, the impermanent nature of the human faculties, body, mind and intellect, must be a reason to utilize them for the purpose they are intended, without frittering the precious opportunity away in worldly pursuits. A legitimate doubt may arise that the body, mind, intellect, personality is meant for worldly pursuits also. But one should remember that engagement in the world gives rise to more karma, and this in turn leads to rebirths. Even the obligatory duties, if performed with attachment to the result, give rise to fresh karma. What's the way out then? By the force of karma that has brought about this birth, a person will enjoy whatever he has to without effort on his part. Hence there is no need to waste all the energy and time at one's disposal in accumulating wealth and achieving materialistic goals. A spiritual seeker, by surrendering the result of his actions to God, would not incur karma. Further, his mind will be rid of its latent impurities, thus enabling him to envision God. The Uddhava Gita outlines how a devotee can gain spiritual insights from day-to-day experiences. The importance of the Guru for gaining spiritual knowledge has to be kept in mind. As the self, Atman, cannot be known from self-study of the scriptures, just as sparks of fire can be produced by friction of firewood, so also the initiation given by the Guru can result in the disciple intuiting the subtle knowledge of the self. Spiritual knowledge puts an end to rebirths, and the karma that has brought about this birth will come to an end on its own momentum, like a ravaging forest fire subsiding naturally when there is nothing left to burn. Knowledge enables the aspirant to understand that the absolute reality is one and appears as diverse selves like the sun, which when reflected in different water bodies appears as many. The analogy of the spider weaving a web and retracting it can be applied to understand how the process of creation, sustenance and dissolution happens. The second important message Sri Ramakrishna gave: the ultimate reality is one, but it is personal as well as impersonal, and is indicated by different names such as God, Ishwar, etc. in different religions. God's play on earth as an incarnation is a manifestation of the glory of Chit Shakti, the divine power. That which is Brahman is also Rama, Krishna, Shiva and Christ. The Jnani reasons about the world through the process of neti neti, not this, not this, and at last reaches the eternal and indivisible Satchidananda. He reasons in this manner: Brahman is not the living beings, it is neither the universe nor the 24 cosmic principles. As a result of such reasoning, he attains the absolute. Then he realizes that it is the absolute that has become all this: the universe, its living beings and the 24 cosmic principles. Sri Ramakrishna gives the example: milk sets into curd, that is yogurt, and the curd is churned into butter. After extracting the butter, one realizes that butter is not essentially different from buttermilk and buttermilk not essentially different from butter. The bark of a tree goes with the pith and the pith goes with the bark. Sri Ramakrishna said, if there is butter, there must be buttermilk also. If you think of butter, you must also think of buttermilk along with it, for there cannot be any butter without buttermilk. Just so, if you accept the Nitya, you must also accept the Leela, the play. It is a process of negation and affirmation. You realize the Nitya by negating the Leela. Then you affirm the Leela, seeing in it the manifestation of the Nitya. One attains this state after realizing reality in both aspects, personal and impersonal. The personal is the embodiment of Chit consciousness, and the impersonal is the indivisible Satchidananda. Brahman alone has become everything. Therefore, to the Vijnani, this world is a mansion of mirth, but to the Jnani, it is a framework of illusion. Ram Prasad described the world as a framework of illusion. Then Sri Ramakrishna says, the ultimate reality can be realized through various paths taught in the world religions. All religions are true insofar as they lead to the same ultimate goal. That means, whatever religion you are practicing, follow it up. That's all that is needed. But people just don't give attention to practice aspect. They keep on arguing and trying to impose his ideas upon the other. No. Everybody should have independence to practice whatever religion he wants. That is called freedom. You choose any path. There are so many paths. Going to mountain. You follow any path. You can take car and go by road. or you can fly through plane. You can go in any manner you want to, but you reach the goal. The point is, once you have chosen the path, don't distract yourself to unnecessary other things. Go ahead, reach the goal. That's the point. So all religions lead to the same goal. They all tell you to realize the truth. Sri Ramakrishna said, there are so many opinions about God. Each opinion is a path. As many faiths, so many paths. There are innumerable opinions and so innumerable paths leading to God. Bhavanath, a devotee, said, then what should we do? Devotion to one's own path and respect for others. Sri Ramakrishna said, you must stick to one path with all your strength. A man can reach the roof of a house by stone stairs, or a ladder, or a rope ladder, or a rope, or even by a bamboo pole. But he can't reach the roof if he sets foot now on one and now on another. He should firmly follow one path. Likewise, in order to realize God, a person must follow one path with all his strength. That's all. But you must regard other views as so many paths leading to God. You should never feel that your path is the only right path and that other paths are wrong. You must not bear malice towards others. Well, to what path do I belong? Keshav Chandra Sen used to say to me. Keshav Chandra said to Sri Ramakrishna, when Sri Ramakrishna asked, what path do I belong? Keshav Chandra Sen said, you belong to our path. You are gradually accepting the ideal of the formless God. There is another person, a great Pandit, Shashadhar. He said, I belong to his path. Vijay, there is another devotee. He said, I belong to his, Vijaya's path. So everybody feels that Sri Ramakrishna belongs to his path. Sri Ramakrishna did realize the truth through various paths. So they could see him according to their own idea of God. The devotees of Sri Ramchandra would see Sri Ramchandra in Sri Ramakrishna. The devotees of Sri Krishna would see Sri Krishna in Sri Ramakrishna. That's why we use the mantra Sarva Deva Devi Swarupaya Sri Ramakrishna Namaha. Sri Ramakrishna, who is Sri Ramakrishna? He is the embodiment of all gods and goddesses. If you take a bath in the ocean, it is like taking bath in all the rivers of the world. All the rivers merge into ocean. So all the merits you get by taking bath in the ocean. Same way, by worshipping Sri Ramakrishna, you are worshipping all gods and goddesses. Whomsoever God you are worshipping him only through Sri Ramakrishna. That is a special mission of Sri Ramakrishna, his incarnation in this world. Then Sri Ramakrishna stressed the point, purity of mind is an essential condition for the attainment of the absolute reality. What is purity? Real purity is freedom from lust and greed. Lust and greed. Kama kanchana tyaga. External observances are only of secondary importance. God can't be realized without purity of heart. Tries to conquer them, then one sees God. Through spiritual practices, man can overcome his evil tendencies, and divine grace can redeem even the worst sinner. Therefore, one should not brood over the past mistakes, but should develop a positive outlook on life by depending on God. Once you turn to God, there is tremendous hope that you will improve and that you will be taken into God. There is a famous story of Girish Chandra Ghosh in Sri Ramakrishna's life. He himself declared he was the worst sinner in this world, but how that sinner became totally transformed by coming in contact with Sri Ramakrishna. His whole life became blessed. The meaning is, we don't have to lament or worry about the mistakes we have committed, but think ahead, surrender to God, be humble, don't be egoistic, don't boast yourself, your power, position, your wealth. These are nothing. These are trash before God. Really trash. So if you have that humbleness, you are really very close to God. Practicing humbleness is most essential quality in spiritual life. Without humbleness, no spirituality. All worship and spiritual discipline are directed to one end alone. What is the purpose of worship and spiritual discipline? It is to get rid of worldly attachment. It is to get rid of worldliness. Worldliness is like a disease. It is worse than the cancer. The more you meditate on God, the less you will be attached to trifling things of the world. The more you love the lotus feet of God, the less you will crave the things of the world or pay heed to creature comforts. You will look on another man's wife as your mother and regard your own wife as your companion in spiritual life. You will get rid of your bestial desires and acquire godly qualities. You will be totally unattached to the world. Though you may still have to live in the world, you will live as a Jivan Mukta. That is, liberated while living. The disciples of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived as householders in a spirit of detachment. And now Sri Ramakrishna assures everyone, God realization is possible for all. The householders need not renounce the world, but they should pray sincerely, practice discrimination between the eternal and the temporal, and remain unattached. God listens to sincere prayer. Intense longing, Vyakulata, is the secret of success in spiritual life. One feels restless for God when one's soul longs for His vision. The Guru said to the disciple, "Come with me, I shall show you what kind of longing will enable you to see God." Saying this, the Guru took the disciple to a pond and pressed his head under the water. After a few minutes he released the disciple and asked him, "How did you feel?" The disciple answered, "Oh Master, I felt as if I were dying. I was longing for a breath of air." Shashidhar said, yes, that's it. I understand it now. Sri Ramakrishna said, to love God is the essence of the whole thing. Bhakti alone is the essence. Narad said to Ram, "May I always have pure love for your lotus feet, and may I not be deluded by your world bewitching Maya?" Sri Rama said to him, Ask for some other boon. No, said Narada. I don't want anything else. May I have love for your lotus feet. This is my only prayer. God dwells in all people. It's a fact. But the manifestation of this inner divinity varies from person to person. In saintly person there is greater manifestation of God. Women are special manifestations of Divine Mother of the universe, and so are to be treated with respect. Since God dwells in all people, helping the needy should be done not out of compassion, but as humble service to God. Egoism caused by ignorance is the root cause of all suffering. Life is an expression of the spontaneous creativity of Lord. Pleasure and pain, success and failure, etc. are to be borne with patience, and one should resign oneself to God's will under all circumstances. One of the important contributions of Sri Ramakrishna is the re-establishment of the ideal of God-realization in the modern world. In a world in which people's faith in traditional religions has been considerably reduced by the relentless attack of the forces of atheism, materialism, and so-called scientific thinking, Sri Ramakrishna established the possibility of having direct experience of transcendent reality. His life has enabled thousands of people to gain or regain faith in God and in the eternal varieties of religion. As Mahatma Gandhi has stated, Sri Ramakrishna's life enables us to see God face to face. No one can read the story of his life without being convinced that God alone is real and that all else is an illusion. Sri Ramakrishna, however, is more well known all over the world as a prophet of harmony of religions. He did not say that all the religions are the same. He recognized differences among religions, but showed that in spite of these differences, all religions lead to the same ultimate goal, and hence they are valid and true. This view is nowadays known as pluralism. Sri Ramakrishna is its primary originator. The uniqueness of Sri Ramakrishna's view is that it was based not on speculation, but on direct experience gained through actual practice. Since conflicts among religions and the rise of religious fundamentalism are a major threat to the peace, prosperity and progress of humanity, Sri Ramakrishna's doctrine of harmony of religions has immense importance in the modern world. Regarding this, the distinguished British historian Arnold Toynbee has written, Mahatma Gandhi's principle of non-violence and Sri Ramakrishna's testimony to the harmony of religions. Here we have the attitude and the spirit that can make it possible for the human race to grow together into a single family. And in the atomic age, this is the only alternative to destroying ourselves. Sri Ramakrishna is the real link between ancient and the modern. He showed how the ancient ideals and experiences could be realized even while following the normal modern way of life. Sri Ramakrishna's emphasis on truthfulness and renunciation of lust and greed has given a great boost to moral life in modern times. He also cleansed religious life of immoral practices, external pomp, miracles mongering, etc. Sri Ramakrishna elevated love from the level of emotions to the level of the unity of all selves in God. Although the principles of oneness of the Supreme Self and its immanence in all beings is a central point in the Upanishads. It was seldom applied in practical life. Sri Ramakrishna saw the divine in his wife, in his disciples, in others, even in fallen women, and treated them all with respect. The famous dictum of the New Testament, God is love, found its verification in Sri Ramakrishna. Divinization of love and human relationships is another contribution of Sri Ramakrishna which has immense significance for the welfare of humanity. Sri Ramakrishna has warned us in so many ways about the importance of practicing spirituality. Sri Ramakrishna said, he is born in vain, who having attained the human birth so difficult to get, does not attempt to realize God in this very life. You see many stars in the sky at night, but not when the sun rises. Can you therefore say that there are no stars in the heavens during the day? O man, because you can't find God in the days of your ignorance, say not that there is no God. One cannot have the vision of God as long as one has these three: shame, hatred, and fear. Be not a traitor in your thoughts. Be sincere. Act according to your thoughts, and you shall surely succeed. Pray with a sincere and simple heart, and your prayers will be heard. Do not let worldly thoughts and anxieties disturb your mind. Do everything that is necessary in the proper time, and let your mind be always fixed on God. You should remember that the heart of the devotee is the abode of God. It dwells, no doubt, in all beings, but he especially manifests himself in the heart of the devotees. The heart of the devotee is the drawing room of God. Pure knowledge and pure love are one and the same thing. Both lead the aspirants to the same goal. The path of love is much easier. Who is best devotee of God? It is he who sees after the realization of Brahman that God alone has become all living beings, the universe, and the 24 cosmic principles. One must discriminate at first, saying not this, and reach the roof. After that one realizes that the steps are made of the same material as the roof, namely brick, lime and brick dust. The devotee realizes that it is Brahman alone that has become all these, the living beings, the universe, and so on. So, live in the world like a waterfowl. The water clings to the bird, but the bird shakes it off. Live in the world like a mud fish. The fish lives in the mud, but his skin is always bright and shiny. Sri Ramakrishna said, I tell you the truth. There is nothing wrong in your being in the world, but you must direct your mind towards God. Otherwise you will not succeed. Do your duty with one hand, and with the other hold on to God. After the duty is over, you will hold to God with both hands. The breeze of His grace is blowing day and night over your head. Unfurl the sails of your boat, that is mind, if you want to make rapid progress through the ocean of life. One should constantly repeat the name of God. Same way Sri Ramakrishna also says, Sri Bhagavad Gita also, Sri Krishna says, Sarveshu Kaleshu Ma Manusmara. All the time remember me. Sri Ramakrishna also says the same thing. One should constantly repeat the name of God. The name of God is highly effective in the Kali Yuga, in this modern age. The practice of yoga is not possible in this age, because the life of a man depends on food. Clap your hands while repeating God's name, and the birds of your sins will fly away. Sri Ramakrishna taught no creed or dogma. His only concern was man's uplift. According to him, there is infinite moral and spiritual potential in everyone. To develop that potential is one's foremost duty in life. He taught man to strive to develop that potential without wasting time over sense pleasure or religious quibbling. Religions are like so many paths leading to the same goal, that is God. Man reaches his religious goal when he attains his highest moral development. So ethical and moral foundation, very important for building spiritual life. About personal and impersonal, Sri Ramakrishna said, God is both personal and impersonal. It is difficult to conceive an impersonal God, so to begin with, God has to be thought of as a person. Can anyone think of the white color without thinking of a white object? One can look at the morning sun, but not the midday sun. Similarly, when God is manifest in a person, we know what God is like. Otherwise, God is impersonal and beyond thought and speech. Be in the world but not of it. Perform your duties as well you can. But do not count too much upon the fruits of your action. Rather, surrender them to God. Try to feel as if you are only a tool in the hands of God. Shri Krishna says in the Gita, Nimitta matram bhavasavyasachin. It tells Arjuna, Nimitta matram, you are just feel you are an instrument. Everything will be done by me, Shri Krishna says to Arjuna. Religion is an experience. Religion makes no sense unless its truths are experienced. Is your thirst satisfied unless you drink water when you are thirsty? God is everywhere, but He is most manifest in man. So, serve man as God. That is as good as worshipping God. Like stars in the daylight, God is invisible. Can you therefore say that there are no stars in the sky during the day? O man, because you can't find God in the days of your ignorance, say not that there is no God. A man thickly embedded in Maya, illusion, is like a piece of iron thickly embedded in mud. Just like the iron with mud is unmoved by the power of the magnet, so also the man is unaffected by the Lord. When the mud is washed away with water, it frees the iron. Likewise, when illusion is washed away with prayer and spiritual disciplines, man is automatically attracted to God. To explain God after merely reading the scriptures is like explaining a city after seeing it on a map. A meteorological report may forecast heavy rainfall, but you can't squeeze a single drop from the paper on which the report is written. So also, many good sayings are found in holy books, but merely reading them won't make you spiritually wise. You have to practice them. An unbaked cake of flour sizzles loudly when put in heated oil. The more it is fried, the less the noise. When it is fully fried, the noise ceases altogether. Likewise, when a person has a little knowledge, he goes about talking and preaching. A truly wise man doesn't make a vain display of his wisdom. Young bamboo bends easily, while full-grown bamboo breaks when bent with force. Likewise, young minds bend easily towards spiritual thoughts, as their minds has not yet stored up with contamination. A spiritual aspirant may live in the world, but the world should not live in his mind. A boat may stay in water, but water should not stay in the boat. Live like a lotus leaf in water, or like a mudfish in the marsh. A spiritual person lives in the material world without being obsessed with it. Milk poured into water mixes readily with it. When converted into butter, It no longer gets mixes but floats on top. Do all your duties, but keep your mind on God. Live with all, with wife, children, father, mother. Serve them. Serve them as if they were very dear to you. But know in your heart of hearts that they do not belong to you really. There is nothing wrong in your being in the world, but you must direct your mind towards God. Otherwise you will not succeed. Do your duty with one hand and with the other hold to God. After the duty is over, you will hold to God with both hands. Vision of God is obtained when the mind is perfectly tranquil. When the sea of one's mind is agitated by the waves of desires, it cannot reflect God. A kite with a fish in its beak was chased by a large number of crows and scrambling kites, pecking at it and trying to snatch away the fish. Wherever it went, the flock of birds followed it. Tired of the chase, the kite threw away the fish. Instantly the flock veered off in the direction of the fish. The kite now sat calm and undisturbed upon the branch of a tree. As long as a man does not cast aside the burden of worldly desires, he cannot be at peace with himself. Ceremonies and rituals are useful up to a certain point for the growth of spiritual thoughts. However, they become useless for him who has realized the highest truth, namely God. Just as the oyster shell that contains a precious pearl is in itself of very little value, but is essential for the growth of the pearl. To acquire the power of concentration, a person must begin by fixing the mind on God with form. Only then can he meditate on the formless. Once a mind has been trained to focus on an ideal, it is easy for it to focus on the formless. A marksman learns to shoot by first aiming at big objects. As he gets more skilled in shooting, he targets smaller and smaller objects. After 14 years of hard penance, a man acquired the supernatural power to walk on water. When he displayed of it, his brother rebuked him. What you have accomplished in 14 years, ordinary man can do by paying a few pennies to the boatman. There are several bathing banks or ghats on a large river. A person goes to whichever ghat he pleases, but reaches the same water. There is no point in quarreling over the merits of the various ghats. Every religion of the world is like a ghat. Each has its own plus and minus points, and each leads to the water of eternal bliss. The one and the same water is called by different names in different languages. So, the one Satchidananda existence, consciousness, bliss is invoked by some as Allah, by some as Hari, and by others as Jesus. Sri Ramakrishna gives an example. Two persons were hotly disputing over the color of a chameleon they had seen on a tree. One said, "It is red." The other one asserted, "No, it is not red, it was blue." Unable to resolve their difference, they went to a man who lived under the tree and had watched the chameleon in all its phases. He knew that the chameleon constantly changes color. So he agreed with both the men, for the chameleon was red as well as blue. Likewise, a devotee who has seen God only in one aspect knows that aspect alone. None but he who has seen him in manifold aspects can say all these forms are of the one God, for God is multi-formed. God is both formless and with form, and infinite are his forms. Viveka and Vairagya, discrimination and dispassion are the two purifying agents in our life. Put a purifying agent like an alum into a vessel of muddy water and see how impurities settle down at the bottom, making the water clear again. Similarly, discrimination and dispassion
help our restless senses to settle down and clear our minds of tensions and anxieties. A person who is fond of fishing first gathers detailed information about a pond, the type of fish it contains, and the most suitable bait to catch them. He then goes to the pond with his fishing rod and bait and waits there patiently until he gets the attractive catch. Similarly, a spiritual aspirant should first gain knowledge from scriptures and spiritual masters. He should try to seek God with the bait of faith and devotion, with his mind as the fishing rod. With unceasing patience, he must wait for the fullness of time. Only then will he realize the divine. Another interesting story Sri Ramakrishna gives to explain his idea. 4 blind men went out to see the elephant. One touched the leg of the elephant and said, "The elephant is like a pillar." The second one, all are blind. The second blind man touched the trunk and said, "The elephant is like a thick club." The third blind man touched the belly and said, "The elephant is like a big wall." The fourth one touched the ears and said, "The elephant is like a big winnowing basket." Thus they began to dispute hotly among themselves as to the shape of the elephant. A passer-by, seeing them thus quarrelling, said, "What is it you are disputing about?" They told him everything and asked him to arbitrate. The man said, "None of you has seen the elephant. The elephant is not like a pillar. Its legs are like pillars. It is not like a winnowing basket. Its ears are like winnowing baskets. It is not like a club. Its trunk is like a club. The elephant is the combination of all these: legs, ears, belly, trunk, and so on. In the same manner, those who quarrel about the nature of God have each seen only one aspect of the deity. So, God is infinite. Don't say, "My God alone is true and all other gods are false." Never say that. It shows only, it exposes our ignorance. Well, Sri Ramakrishna has said lot of instructions and teachings in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Please read them over and over again. The more you read, the more you feel blessed and feel drawn towards the ideal. Thank you. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavagai Tejasvinavadhidamastu ma vidvishavagai. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. May the Lord protect us, may He teach us, may He nourish us, may we not be fruitful and enlightened, may we not hate each other. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.